Good afternoon. Welcome to the webinar and thank you for dialing in. Before we start with the main presentation, I'd like to remind you that you can share your feedback and engage with the Hayes Salary Guide conversations on social media. You can simply follow us on Twitter or connect with us on Facebook or LinkedIn and use hashtag Hayes Salary Guide. By way of brief introduction, I'm John Moore. I've been with Hayes across the UK and Ireland for 21 years, and I head up our business in Northern Ireland. I'm joined today by Julie Fleming, who's HR Manager at Choice Housing. Julie will be taking you through recruitment and retention at Choice Housing, the range of hiring methods they utilise, and how the feedback and actions taken by the organisation are received by staff there. I'll take you through the findings of our 2019 Salary and Recruiting Trends Guide, and I'll then pass you across to Julie. This webinar is being recorded and will be available on our website shortly. And just a reminder, you can type questions at any time during the webinar using the Q&A box in the bottom right-hand side of your screen, and we'll spend a few minutes at the end going over some of these. So this is the 5th year we've produced our UK guide, covering 12 specialist, skilled and technical areas, supported by regional salary data across 10 UK regions and 93 UK office locations. The presentation is quite data heavy, and that's a good thing for review and analysis, and the salary guide is a superb reference document with over 250 pages of salary information and trends, so please do request one and we'll get that to you promptly. As well as using our own extensive insights, we also launched a survey to establish employee satisfaction, employers' concerns, and gain further insight into the market, and this secured almost 23,000 responses from employers and employees. So to start, let's set the scene by quickly recapping last year's findings. In 2017, nationally, 59% of organisations expected their business activity to increase. 71% said they were planning to recruit. There was a 1.8% average salary increase. In Northern Ireland last year, we reported on an average regional salary increase of 2.2%. We'll touch on this later. Employers in the private sector are in many instances reporting salaries higher than 2.5%. And finally, in 2017, 55% of respondents were considering moving jobs in the coming 12 months. This year, against the backdrop of continued uncertainty, you'll see that hiring plans are at the highest since our survey began 5 years ago, and that's outstanding. So we'll take a look now at what the survey results show in a bit of detail. Although there is obviously uncertainty with businesses waiting a resolution to a Stormont impasse and the broader Brexit negotiations, employers' business outlook remains robust, and employers are broadly very optimistic about the market and the medium-term opportunities. There has been an increase in the number of employers predicting growth. 62% of employers forecasted an increase in business activity levels in 2016, pre-EU referendum. That fell to 57% immediately following the referendum and then rose to 59% across last year. And 61% of respondents this year anticipate that business activity will increase in 2019. And consistent with last year, only 5% expect a decrease in business activity. This is really good news for the economy. It shows that employers are optimistic about business outlook in spite of continued uncertainty, and the optimism suggests that organisations have made assumptions on expansion and remain focused on the opportunities ahead, regardless of current uncertainties. What we're seeing in Northern Ireland is that 69% of companies expect to see business increase, and that's against a 76% forecast overall. Nationally, we see some sectors and regions, for example, financial services in London, are forecasting significant expected changes, as well as the construction sector in the south of England hitting the pause button on some areas on output. Recruitment clearly remains a priority for many companies. As you can see, 76% of respondents say they plan to hire in the next 12 months. Given the dual challenges that we face here about lack of Brexit and pending Brexit, lack of Stormont and Brexit, it does remain highly encouraging for the economy, but granted by only a couple of percentage points against the national increase of 76%, you'll see that 4 out of 5 companies, 80% in Northern Ireland, plan to hire in 2019. The breakdown on perm and temporary and fixed-term hires is as you can see on your screen. 62% state they plan to hire permanent staff, while 35% plan to hire temporary, contract and interim staff, 6% more than last year, and up 22% cumulatively over the preceding 3 years. However, it won't be news to you that hiring isn't straightforward. In the past year, our clients are regularly reporting counter-offers, competitive offers declined, and ghost interviews where candidates don't attend interview or just don't complete the process as being more prevalent factors than they've experienced in a number of years. The feedback in the survey is that employers are in agreement that the recruitment market is in many areas at its most competitive for quite some time, with 78% of employers experiencing difficulty hiring permanent staff and 63% reporting challenges hiring contract or temporary staff. Skill shortages are apparent across many functional areas, as you can see. Moving leadership and managerial skills off the top spot and into second, operations and technical skills are most needed by organisations this year at 44%, and that's an increase of 14% on last year. Employers also express concern about increased competition from other employers, 48% this year from 45% last year, and applicants with unrealistic salary requirements, 49% compared to 44% last year. These hiring challenges look set to continue as 68% of employers expect to experience a shortage of suitable applicants when recruiting over the next 12 months. The importance of effective recruitment and retention is really apparent here, as 28% of employers don't believe they've got the talent needed to achieve their business objectives, and that's up from 24% last year. The consequence of ongoing skill shortages is being felt in employee morale and in some sectors in productivity. Almost half of employers, 46%, reported that skill shortages have had a negative impact on employee morale, and that's up 5 percentage points on last year. The result of this competitive environment and the urgent need to address the skills gap and to retain staff is a continued pressure on costs and on the wage lines of many companies' profit and loss accounts. In the past year, employers increased salaries at a greater rate than they predicted. 73% increased salaries in the last 12 months, higher than the 67% who expected when asked last year. What you can see here is a breakdown of reported level of salary increase by UK region, and the national average is 1.9%. So this is the third year that in Northern Ireland we've seen a slightly higher percentage increase against the UK average. Now, I mentioned this earlier, there is a public-private sector imbalance in many instances, with pay freezes or below inflation increases in many of the not-for-profit and public services bodies, and many private sector firms right across Northern Ireland, far from just being a Belfast issue, have reported 2.5% and in some instances 5% plus increases throughout the year. Once you read through the report also, what you'll see is that in spite of the increases on prior years in like-for-like salaries in Northern Ireland, the salaries on offer in many parts of GB, even outside of London and its high cost of living, are a big draw for professional and skilled workforce that's here, that's ambitious and is mobile. And you can see that week in, week out at Belfast City Airport and Belfast International. So as a result, 30% of employers increased salaries by over 2.5% compared to 19% who planned to. That's quite a significant response from employers. By sector, overall, we saw the biggest year-on-year increase in both legal and construction, and also at 2.7%, with HR coming through also at 2.1%. The result of these salary increases has been a higher level of salary satisfaction among employees. Thankfully, 61% of employees say they are happy with their salaries, compared to 43% last year. There's also been a drop in the number of requests for pay rises. Only 26% of employees asked for a pay rise in the past 12 months, compared to 31% the year before. Looking at the last 12 months again, 42% of professionals say they moved role in the last year, and an additional 40% tell us they considered it. What this shows is an openness and confidence to move from candidates, and a total talent pool of 82%, both active and passive, that can be harnessed by employers if the overall package and value proposition and pace of hiring is aligned to job seekers' expectations. Of the 42% of professionals who say they moved role in the last year, the most common reason given, no surprise, was that the salary level was too low. So do look at the regional and salary sector data in their guide, as salary for the majority of job seekers is definitely the #1 single factor that you continue to need to get right, and you need to ensure that you're reviewing it to keep in line with the market. Among those respondents who do not currently intend to move roles this year, 44% admit a better salary and benefits package would tempt them to change jobs. Pension provision above the legal minimum was the second most popular benefit after annual leave. Now, while the importance of effective candidate attraction is apparent, so too are retention strategies. Existing employees have their own demands and their own expectations. After salary, career progression or perceived lack of opportunity is one of the main reasons employees are planning to move jobs. Now, this is a really big piece for me here. Employers continue to underestimate the appeal of offering a positive work-life balance to employees and the value that this can have when searching for new talent and retaining the loyalty of existing staff. There's a really eye-catching contrast. Only 18% of employers think work-life balance is important to attract staff, while 30% of professionals prioritise this when considering a new role. So this might be the one key takeaway or key discussion item with the owner or the MD or for the next board meeting. I think it's a really significant mismatch. The number of employees rating their work-life balance as very poor to average has remained fairly static at 45%. It's just a 1% increase from last year. The main request to improve work-life balance for 39% of professionals was a change in working hours, including adopting flexible working. So there you have it. That's the headlines of our key findings. I've sailed through quite a bit of data, but I promise you it's really valuable when you're looking at your own retention, when you're assessing salary bands in the company, looking at external applications, and particularly where candidates are relocating. It's a great way to sense check reported salaries on applications against detailed UK regional data. So I'll just take 2 minutes to summarise those key findings. First off, we have seen that despite the wider uncertainty, employer confidence in business activity for the year ahead and over the medium term of 2 to 5 years remains encouragingly positive. As a result, recruitment remains a top priority for many organisations, and that's encouraging for the economy as it's reached the highest expected level since our survey began 5 years ago. However, the relative skill shortages are compounded in some sectors by increased competition from other employers, and this looks set to be a key challenge in the year ahead. And if headcount isn't at the right level, it may also impact morale and productivity. Salaries are on the rise, but many employees are bullish about opportunities in the market. There is a significant active and passive talent pool, which employers can engage with, but you do need to offer the right salary and benefits package and the right environment, and make sure that all hiring managers are up to date on the full package, not just the headline remuneration. And finally, successful organisations will consider a focus on a positive work-life balance. So, the recommendations. Evaluate what your employer brand is against your competition. That's critical. You will have many loyal and committed staff. So ask, what is it that keeps people on board and motivated? Is this well communicated on all online channels, and is it well communicated throughout the hiring process? Because while companies once looked at the same broad group of organisations within their locality and their sector as their competition for staff. Employees today are weighing up multiple options, from freelance work and self-employment, promising startups in emerging sectors, or global organisations in Northern Ireland that continue to build headcount, so employers need to be on the front foot. Next, hire for potential rather than just experience, and consider investing in internal development programmes. This would not only address some of the skills gaps that are reported, but it would also help mitigate the negative impact on employee morale associated, which 46% of employers say they've experienced. And final one, as skills shortages continue and maybe intensify, looking for talent in the same places every time is no longer a reliable strategy. Employers can widen their talent pool by looking at different sources that open up new applications from diverse populations of talent, in addition to assessing the applicant journey for inclusiveness. So to remain competitive in today's market, employers must review their attraction strategy through a diversity and inclusion lens. Thank you. That's me now until the Q&A. I'll now hand you over to Julie Fleming. Julie.
Thank you, John. Good afternoon, everyone. As John said, my name is Julie Fleming. I'm HR Manager of Choice Housing. My presentation today, what I'm going to discuss, I'm going to introduce Choice, what we do, what our work is, how many people we employ, and then I'm going to talk about the main recruitment issues and challenges that we have faced and what we're really doing about it, how we're going to tackle it. I've then brought in some of the survey information that John provided, and I'm going to compare that to our staff survey and how we rate against the survey findings and what we can do to improve, and then really to sum up with what we plan to do the year ahead. Okay, Choice Housing then, just a brief introduction. Choice Housing was formed in 2014, and Choice is one of the largest housing associations in Northern Ireland. Choice is an amalgamation of Oakley, Trinity and Ulidia Housing, so there's over 40 years of experience there that has been brought together, as I said, in 2014. Now, Choice is a not-for-profit organisation, and Choice offers family housing, supported and sheltered living schemes. We have, as it says there, over 10,000 homes. We employ 331 staff members, and we're looking to expand and increase that number. And our main aim is to be the upper quartile for pay in this housing sector. We annually review our salaries every year. We've made that commitment to the staff and the board, and how we do that is through the living wage. We look at inflation and also the average wage increases statistics out there. So what I'm going to really discuss and what my main presentation will be about today is recruitment issues and challenges, and these are the main ones that I foresee for Choice and what we have faced this year. Firstly, to be the leading organisation in the housing sector, you know, we aim to be #1 housing association and to attract the right talent and retain the right talent as well to enable us to do that. We also, a challenge we see is to attract qualified candidates outside the sector, and this I mean professional staff, for example, procurement, finance, HR, trying to entice those type of people, that type of staff to our organisation to add value. Another issue would be the use of social media. Now, it's something we are looking into for part of our recruitment, the likes sort of just to widen our candidate pool. Topic like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, etc. Employee brand is a big issue for us. As I said, we've recently formed in 2014, and we need to do some work on getting our brand out there and how we publicise and advertise ourselves to attract staff and to show the good work we do in the community and how people can help and add value. Hire for potential, which has come out of John's presentation as well. We one of our issues is to hire for potential. We are seeing issues in recruiting certain types of staff, so we've had to hire for potential within the organisation, and we've found that this has increased engagement with our staff and retention as well. Diversity and inclusion is also a big thing for us, and it's something we are keen to be proactive in 2019. I think we serve the community, and I think our staff needs to reflect the community that we serve. So we're looking to develop diversity, more diversity and more inclusion for the staff and for the community. So it's a leading sector. We want to be the leading organisation in the housing sector, and we also want to attract outside. So we have the ambitious aim to be recognised as the #1 housing association in the whole province, in the whole of Ireland, north and south. We have a group, Oakley, which is in the south, which is expanding, and we are all over Northern Ireland as well. There is a number of housing associations that we work in closely with as well, but our main aim is to be the #1. We want also to retain, and to be able to do this, we need to retain our current staff, good staff members, and attract applicants through a total rewards package. I think, as John had mentioned, you know, it's not just about pay for staff, it's about the learning and development opportunities, flexible working, and I also think health and well-being packages. We need to look after our staff, try to improve their health and well-being so they will be more productive in work. The main issue I found is to attract roles outside of housing. For example, we have had issues trying to find procurement staff, and we've had recruitment competitions, and we've had to go to agencies as well. We find a real difficulty in attracting that type of staff, which I think is a problem for most organisations. So we have to be. Part of that will be our brand and how we advertise and publicise our brand to attract staff who are out there who may not know who Choice are or the work of a housing association, or maybe want to be involved in a housing association. So as I said briefly, use of social media. I really feel that recruitment is changing. It's really modernising itself. Organisations tend to be moving away from paper-based recruitment, and it's all going online. So Choice need to use the likes of Facebook, LinkedIn and Twitter more to attract staff, because I think you're going to widen your applicant pool there. And it's target vacancies as well. There may be potential candidates out there who aren't actively looking for a job, but they will see the benefits that Choice offer, and they will see the remuneration package, the chance to develop and improve, and the engagement and the money we put into staff, and that may be attractive for them. Also, obviously, the cost. There's no cost to share on the company page on Twitter and Facebook, which would be more cost-effective than advertising in, say, the papers on a Friday and a Tuesday, which has got quite a lot of cost, and you're maybe not targeting the right people or the people you want to be targeting. Employee brand, as I said, Choice has come together in 2014, and we're working really hard at advertising ourselves and to put Choice out there as an employer of choice. Excuse the pun, that people may want to join, become part of our team. This year was the first year that we entered the Employers for Childcare Family Friendly Award for the charity sector, and we were highly commended. As you can see from the picture, the whole team went out for the day. We got a trophy, and it really raised our brand. There were some big competitors against us and in the other categories, and it was a real uplift for the team as well. And it's something we're passionate about, to be family friendly and to recognise the different benefits that staff would need, different flexible working. We also improving our brand this year by introducing a health cash plan. It was introduced just October 2018 for all employees. It covers, everyday essentials and preventative, a number of therapies, acupuncture, etc. And it's hoped that that will help staff remain in work, be healthier in work, and sort of be proactive in helping them maintain attendance and be more and boost productivity. 2019 will be an exciting year for Choice, and we're introducing a Choice Academy, which is a learning and development. It's sort of a pathway to staff. We have a whole programme for staff, and we're going to start just with the housing staff to develop their skills and knowledge and have recognised programmes in place, on-the-job mentoring as well as formal courses. So it's really to promote our brand and get it out there as an organisation you would want to work for. Hiring for potential, as John discussed in his presentation, we recognise we've had issues with hard-to-fill posts, so we've looked at the skills we have in our team. This is the first year we've brought in apprenticeships into Choice Services, which is one of our groups. We've had issues with trying to fill posts such as joinery, electrician and plumbers, and so we had started the apprenticeships, and we've had 3 start in the last couple of weeks, which is really exciting to give them the opportunity to be out into an organisation and to see and for them to develop their skills over the next 2 or 3 years, and hopefully we'll retain them at the end of that. Work Choice is another one that is our 2nd year in association with Bryson. This is a supported employment programme which we started in 2017. It's 26 weeks and placements are buddied up. We have them throughout the business, in finance, as a maintenance officer. We have in IT, and it's primarily aimed at Choice tenants to try and get them into employment, increase their confidence, and they will get a qualification at the end. And this has been really brilliant initiative, which Choice were delighted to support again for its 2nd year. And again, it's putting something back to the community and helping people improve their skills and increase their confidence. And we are seeing that placements are applying for jobs with ourselves. Diversity and inclusion is huge. This is going to be huge for us in 2019. We had a staff survey in 2017, and the top line really refers to 72% of Choice staff surveyed felt their individual contribution had meaning, which was huge. This was really important. We're delighted with that result, but it's something we need to work hard at into 2019. Need to get our staff more involved. We have a staff forum as well, and we feed back information from staff, but we need to improve that. We also need to work on our diversity. We need to reflect the community that we serve and get more maybe ethnic minorities into the workplace, and maybe have a policy or procedure about how we're going to do that. I think flexible working will help with this. Again, be flexible ways of working to help attract staff. We're benchmarking with other organisations, especially in housing and outside, to see good practice. We regularly train our staff with regards to equality and diversity, and it's a regular focus on the agenda, and it will be a big body of work which we plan to do next year into 2019. So the staff Hayes survey and Choice staff survey. As I said, the Choice staff survey, we survey our staff every 2 years. The last survey was 2017. We had a 71% response rate, which was up from 52% in 2015. So we're delighted that more staff were being involved. I've picked out some of the main highlights and maybe compared them with Hayes as well, Hayes' research. So 75% of staff are proud to work for Choice Housing, which is obviously, it's great that people are proud of where they work for, especially because of the work we do in the community. We had a 2% salary increase in 2018, which is slightly above what the average was. 67% overall satisfaction. We had a particular stat we had was 71% of staff are happy with their work-life balance, which is a great number, especially when John had highlighted and referred to 44%. I believe their work-life balance is very poor to average, and also with getting the family-friendly, highly commended. We have done a lot of good work we're commended for in the past, but we have plans in the future how we're going to help with work-life balance and sort of meet staff halfway about how they want to work, because I think the 9 to 5 is definitely changing, and the being based in the office all the time is also changing. And Choice did see an increase in recruitment in 2018, and we're planning more recruitment obviously into 2019, replacing staff who maybe leave to go elsewhere, and also getting new staff and new posts into our structure. So really, yeah, that's me. It's exciting and challenging 2019 ahead. As I said, we're really going to concentrate this year on diversity and being more inclusive. We hope to attract the top candidates and retain the great staff that we have as well. And the main point next year would be to modernise our recruitment as well, and to use more social media, and to try and widen the pool of applicants that we can get for Choice. And that's me. Thank you.
Okay. Julie, thank you very much. That's a really interesting insight into what's working at Choice, how you review the full package and continuously work on the positive experience that your staff have in working at Choice Housing. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'll now pick up on some of the questions that are coming through. Just a reminder, you can type in a question using the Q&A box in the bottom right-hand side of your screen. So we've had some that have come through. I'll take the first one, nice and direct. Do you seriously expect salaries to continue to rise next year with all of the issues that businesses are expecting to face? Okay, if you'd asked me for a personal view 2 months or even 2 weeks ago, I'd have probably said no, or around 1%. But despite the uncertainties that we have, employers are telling us that they will continue to raise salaries in the year ahead. We'll see what the next labour market survey in Northern Ireland brings us in the next 10 days, and we'll see what the final UK-EU agreement looks like for Northern Ireland firms, because that will have a big bearing. But remember, many firms are seeing the departure of EU nationals nationally. It's been measured. It's 132,000 people that have left the UK to return to different parts of the EU this year. That's going to put a real strain on headcount, and that means firms are going to be under pressure to attract staff, and salary will still be an incentive to attract skilled staff and for companies to continue to meet the demands of their business and their end clients. But remember, as Julia said, as our survey highlights, it's not all about salary. If you can provide evidence of career progression and a positive work-life balance, there are also key roles. So it's not all about pushing salaries forward. Employers have to look at the full package that they offer and how that's communicated. I hope that answers that. Julie, I've got one for you. If you were to summarise, what was the one biggest challenge Choice Housing faced in 2018?
Okay, the biggest challenge with relation to recruitment was probably, as I'd refer to in my presentation, just about the hard to fill posts, which I think a number of organisations are finding difficulty. You know, there's real competition between, especially housing associations, I think, but even broader than that outside. We had a real issue, as I said, with procurement with officers and senior officers. So what we had to do was review our requirements, go back and look at the job description, the personnel spec, and also I think, John, as you'd referred to earlier about reviewing where we advertised. We tend to advertise in the same places, websites and different recruitment websites, but I think we needed to look and see where our candidate pool going to be looking for jobs, and where can we advertise to get more potential. We also liaise with agencies as well. I think they have a role to play too. But we had to really look at potential in the organisation and train for the future, and really be more looking years ahead rather than to the immediate future. We obviously have roles to fill now, but even for staff coming up, and we were able to put in development programs for them and retain some good staff. But we're always looking to get, as I said, good staff into Choice with a fresh pair of eyes and to bring different expertise. And it'll probably continue to be a challenge into next year and the year after.
Okay, thank you for that, Julie. Next question is, what can we do if we've already hit the cap on salary banding? We often encounter candidates with higher salary requests than we can match. I'll take that. The answer is you're not alone. Nearly half of employers told us that last year they faced the challenge of candidates with unrealistic salary expectations. So the question is, how else do you compete? The advice is look closely at the overall offer in the candidates and not just solely focusing on the financial element. Career progression is high on the list of priorities for employees, so make sure that if you are promoting career progression, that you're also promoting the training, mentoring and professional development that you'll hopefully provide in order to support and deliver against this. And work-life balance is very important to professional and skilled staff, and the surveys highlighted a difference between how important employees and their employers perceive this aspect. So if you have flexible working policies in place, make sure that you're promoting these to candidates and to your existing staff. Don't expect them to search in detail online. And if you don't have policies in place or pending, it might be time to consider what you're able to offer, because this is an element that's just growing year on year based on the feedback that we receive. Okay. Julie, I love this question and I'm asked it all the time, so I'd be interested in your view on this. What do you see as the future of recruitment?
The future, I think, is going to be more digital. I think we're going to move away from formal interviews and applications, and I would like to see it as a more informal type process with different aspects of recruitment, testing different skills, not just how you come across on that day. I think references as well, there's different research out there about how effective they are and whether they're worth, the paper they're written on. But I see the future of recruitment as, far more social media based, I think, and far more communicating what your values are is important, your strategy. And it's as much as an employee or a candidate figuring out the employer as the employer figuring out the candidate, I think now, especially in certain professions. But I think it will be a lot more online, a lot more digital. People will apply online. There'll be their profiles will stay there, and there'll be. And it is really, I think, an employee's market at the minute for certain professions. But that's why you have to. I think an employer has to strive to be the top of where they are. And as you said before, having the total package to attract. It's not just pay; it brings in everything else. And it's about communicating that as well. I think a lot of time communication maybe isn't good. But yeah, I think that the future will be a lot more digital, and I think the whole process could change and be more interactive, I like to think.
Okay, well, thank you for that. That's a nice, refreshing insight. I am conscious of time. I'm going to take one more question that's come through, and it's this. You talk about multinationals in Northern Ireland expanding. How do SMEs compete with this? And I'll give you a view on that. In my 21 years with Hayes, there has always been a strong SME element to the Northern Ireland workplace, and there are so many startups and small businesses in Northern Ireland. They're more and more looking outside of their immediate traditional markets to identify business opportunities. I actually think it's a really exciting time for them. So I would sort of answer that by saying, first off, think about why you're working in that environment and why it appeals. You see, Julie just talked there about the future of recruitment. If you look at the future of work, there's so many people that are now starting to take a portfolio view of their career, and not everyone wants to work for a large organisation. The pace of decision making and the ability to move from idea to action in the right SME can be very appealing. Early years can be volatile, but a cash flow and increasing costs are concerns. But many people don't want to be pigeonholed into one role, one organisation. And as people work longer, what you'll find, what we're already being told, is that people plan to leave and then return as their careers last longer. So you'll see a variety of applications as we progress down this longer working life. And the final piece is, you have more opportunity than ever across business media and social media. And as long as you're really managing your reputation properly and being clear about what you can offer, then your own staff and your ex-staff can be your best advocates by an absolute mile. But it is becoming so important for employers to tap into as wide a pool of talent as possible. I hope that answers that. As I said, I'm very conscious of time, and I think people will want to enjoy the remainder or the start of their lunch break. So I'll conclude the session now. I hope you have found this a useful insight into how employers and employee sentiments are shaping up as we get ready for 2019, and some of the effects that this will have on hiring intentions and how to shape successful and effective appointments. I'd like to thank sincerely Julie Fleming at Choice Housing for providing an excellent presentation, and to you all for dialing in. If you'd like to request a copy of our salary guide, please do speak to a consultant or complete the form on our webpage, and we'd be delighted to look at what advice or support we might offer your organisation in the coming year. So thank you everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.